Swadikap, good afternoon for Monday today, Monday the 17th of January 2022, and this is the English language summary of the press briefing here at the Center for COVID Situation Administration, or CCSA. So I'd like to start off first by saying that yesterday, on Sunday, was actually a good day in terms of numbers because we have had a low fatality rate. Yesterday on Sunday, we recorded only 9 fatalities. Of course, every number is a life. We recognize that. I am not saying that a lower number of fatalities is better than a higher number of fatalities. Any fatality is something that we are sorrowful about because all the numbers that we look at, when we look at numbers, we see people, we see families, we see parents, we see children. Now, that being said, there's also a new piece of information about the first 2 Omicron deaths in Thailand, which I'll go into detail later. But first off, I'll start off with the update on the entry of arrivals, of travelers into Thailand. So during the 1st to the 16th of January 2022, there's an infographic there on screen for you. We have 121,645 travelers who have entered Thailand, incoming travelers from the 1st to the 16th, yesterday, 16th of January 2022. And of that number, in the test and go or quarantine exemption scheme is 63,142 travelers entering via the test and go or the quarantine exemption scheme. We have 41,184 through the sandbox scheme and 17,319 travelers who entered through the quarantine system. The majority of international travelers come from top 10 countries, namely, as you see on screen, Russia, Germany, US, UK, and France. And the rest you can see on screen there. As for the general situation, I'll start off with, turn to the update on this for today. We have new confirmed case, slightly lower than yesterday actually, when it was around in the 8,000s. New confirmed case today we recorded 6,929. We have currently new recoveries recorded at 5,255. So you can notice that the number of new confirmed cases might be getting a bit lower, and the new recoveries almost in the same number, 5,200. The active cases still being treated at the moment is 82,210, as you see on screen. When yesterday we had 9 fatalities, low number of fatalities compared to the past months, today we have 13 new fatalities. Just some details on that. Today the new confirmed cases and new deaths hit the lowest actually in at least 7 days. And the number of deaths tend to decrease. It's on a downward trend. Now, just additional information regarding the first 2 Omicron deaths in Thailand that I mentioned in the beginning. Both of these fatalities are females, 2 females from Omicron. The first 2 Omicron deaths in Thailand are actually those who are quite in the elderly group. One was 86-year-old female, and the other was 84 years old. So for just some details on that, the 84-year-old female, the first fatality was from Songkhla. She was bedridden and had Alzheimer's disease and other chronic diseases. Tested positive on the ATK on the 6th of January, admitted to hospital on the 7th and passed away, unfortunately, on the 12th of January. The first and second case were in close contact with relatives infected with COVID-19. For the second case, an 84-year-old woman in Udon Thani province. She was in the terminal stage of lung cancer, and in the early period had no symptoms. Her son tested positive on the 9th of January. She was tested by RT-PCR. On the 10th, the result came out that it was positive. She was in home isolation, cared by her relatives, and the symptoms worsened. She was hospitalized, and on the 15th of January 2022, she passed away, unfortunately. I'll move on to the statistics that we have in terms of the top 10 provinces with high COVID cases coming up on screen for you. Topping the list remains Bangkok at 722, Samut Prakan increasingly with higher cases in the past days and week, Chonburi, Phuket, Nonthaburi, and the other provinces that you see on screen. The vaccination effort continues. Many in the country have received their third dose, the second dose, or the first dose. Most have received their first dose already in Thailand, and an increasing number of people receiving their booster or third dose. So just a recap on this vaccination progress, this update. This is information as of yesterday at 1800 hours. Yesterday, we administered over 172,000 doses of vaccines. Accumulated total number of vaccines now is over 109 million doses. For the first dose, we have 71.9% receiving that already. For the second dose, we have 66.1% of the population, and over 14% of the population receiving their third or booster dose. Now, regarding Omicron in particular, according to the Ministry of Public Health, the COVID-19 case loads have currently been stabilized, more on the stabilized part, compared with the surge of infections in the first week of January because of the Omicron outbreak. So first week compared to this week. And due to this, the government may be considering to relax some measures and defensive posture against the Omicron strain, in the upcoming weeks. And that will be further discussed in our daily CCSA meeting. And of course, in the bigger CCSA general meeting that we will be having on the 20th of January 2022. So to fight against Omicron, the government will be steadfast in continuing rigidly in implementing VUCA, vaccine up COVID-free setting, ATK disease control measures, and working from home, as well as to encourage the public to avoid social gatherings in parallel with preparing home isolation and medical treatment facilities for infected patients. So universal prevention remains at the core of our approach. As for entering the country, I'll just recap once again. We, of course, like to emphasize some of the measures that we have already mentioned according to the slide you see on screen there now. The slide you see on screen from the Department of Consular Affairs. Those wishing to enter the country now have to either register for sandbox scheme or the alternative quarantine, as you know, because of the suspension of the test and go for suspension for new applications. So for those joining the alternative quarantine scheme, the quarantine period reduced to 7 days for fully vaccinated and 10 days for unvaccinated persons. Just to stress once again, to prevent any misunderstanding regarding entering Thailand, it should be noted that there is no registration fee for Thailand Pass. It's a free service for those wishing to enter Thailand. As I mentioned, suspension of the test and go continues to be suspended until the end of the month at least. But travelers who were previously approved, who have their test and go QR code prior, of course, can continue to enter the country. The CCSA will consider additional relaxation or additional measures according to the situation. We'll keep you informed as soon as the information, these important information becomes available. Update on the ATK due to the high demand for the antigen test kit amid the rapid increase in terms of the cases. The Government Pharmaceutical Organization, or GPO, will be providing ATKs available at 35 baht per kit in order to facilitate public access to the test kits at an affordable price. Now, as I mentioned earlier, it depends on a lot of things like market mechanisms as well. And the lower the price, it will be better, of course, for everybody to be able to access and purchase the ATK for their use. Right now, many offices in Thailand are requiring their employees, their staff, to test the ATK at least once a week at the beginning of the week, and of course show some sort of photograph or proof of a negative result before coming into work at the beginning of the week on Monday, for example. So this ATK at a lower price would be sold eventually in 8 GPO pharmacies. You see those pharmacies on screen, online also, starting from today via the Government Pharmaceutical Organization website. And you have that infographic there in English, courtesy of the Public Relations Department. So moving on to the MorProm application, I mentioned this on Friday, and I'll reiterate this once again, that the application is now available for foreign nationals residing in Thailand in 4 languages. It has been developed to have content in English, in Burmese, Khmer, and Lao, so 4 languages. So foreign nationals in Thailand who are vaccinated at least in 1 dose, at least the first dose of the vaccine, can now view their vaccination information on this application, which can be downloaded on both the App Store and Play Store. And there's also a video demonstration in 4 languages. You can also view that by scanning the QR code that you see on screen. So foreign residents in Thailand are encouraged to download this and use the application after being vaccinated. Of course, we maintain the underlying concept, our underlying approach, of course, in Thailand, that no one is safe until everyone is safe. No one is safe until everyone is safe. And efforts have been made to fulfill this approach of ours in the past years. So just to urge our listeners to please stay safe, continue to be rigid in terms of COVID, follow the universal prevention measures, and get vaccinated, of course. Please note that although the Omicron variant seems less severe than the Delta variant, but current information, new information have proven that it is widespread. It becomes widespread much faster. So we need to prepare and be very cautious. Of course, prevention is the best medicine. So as I mentioned, we'll be having the general CCSA meeting this week. And if there are any measures that will be relaxed or updated or not, we'll keep you informed for your benefit, for the benefit of the English language audience here viewing us in Thailand or through social media from around the world. So hoping for the best this week. That's all I have for you for today. Thank you for your attention and have a great week ahead. สวัสดีครับ